In the spring of 1962, the Honda Motor Company, by then Japan's largest motorcycle maker, was just gearing up to build its first cars.
All right. Let's reach an understanding here, even if it takes all night.
Is this about the new law?
What in blazes makes you think that Japanese manufacturers need to be protected like children? Before the battle's even begun, you want to restrict car building to the companies already making them.
Well, you see, it's like this.
Enough! You bureaucrats aren't the ones fighting for survival. We are!
In 1962, as Japan was preparing to liberalize its economy, the Ministry of International Trade and Industry sought to protect strategic industries by restricting them to only current manufacturers and shutting out new entrants with the introduction of its special industrial promotion law. If passed, this new law would have surely prevented Honda from ever becoming a car maker. The news of this came as a giant shock to Soichiro, who had made plans to enter the automobile industry and was determined to reach the world with his technology. To establish a track record as a car maker before the new law was introduced, Honda rushed to produce two automobiles, the Honda Sports 360 sports car and the T360 mini truck, and displayed them at the Tokyo Motor Show in the fall of 1962. This first debut of Honda-made cars immediately captured the world's attention. Then, only 2 years later, in the summer of 1964, Honda entered its first ever Formula One race at the West German round of the World Grand Prix. This renowned racecourse is located in the Eifel uplands of Germany's Mosel region. With an old castle at its center, this hilly 22.8-kilometer course winds its many curves through dense forests and over mountain slopes. At the time, the Nürburgring was by far the longest of the F1 circuits. In fact, the Lotus team had planned to use a Honda engine in its Formula One machine. However, when Lotus suddenly withdrew just before the season began, Honda rushed to construct an entirely new machine from scratch in a mere 6 months. And to top it off, the completed machine was the first ever Japanese race car to take part in the Formula One Grand Prix. The Honda team's chosen driver was American Ronnie Bucknam. The team's manager and chief engineer was Yoshio Nakamura. Originally an aeronautics engineer, Nakamura was drawn to car racing soon after joining the company.
Mr. Nakamura, I understand you designed Zeros during the war.
Well, not exactly. I did have a small part in its development, but...
But it's true you were building planes, right?
So we have a kamikaze in F1.
Are you also a samurai, Mr. Nakamura?
So what are the specs on the Honda engine?
Well, it's a 48-valve V12 that puts out 220 horsepower at a peak of 12,000 RPM.
This new engine directly incorporated every technological advance Honda had gleaned from its motorcycle racing experience. Ultra-high revving, it was not only powerful, but one of the most advanced engines currently found in automobile racing.
I'll give it all I got, Naka-san.
We're actually in an F1 race!
Uh-huh.
It's sure taking them a long time. They've been gone more than 10 minutes.
Relax. It's okay.
Really? Here they come!
What's wrong, Ronnie?
The oil pan bottomed out when I went over a dip.
Huh? Damn! We forgot to adjust the ground clearance!
In their very first Grand Prix event, the Honda team had neglected to readjust the car's settings for the Nürburgring after testing in the Netherlands. An embarrassing rookie mistake. To enter the next day's qualifying period, repair work continued through the night. The following day, a piston seized and stopped the engine on the final qualifying lap.
Now we've blown a piston.
Well, there's still a chance. We'll do whatever it takes to get into the main event.
Finally, the next day, on August 2nd, 1964, the Honda machine started its first Formula One Grand Prix race from the last row of the starting grid, proudly displaying the red circle of the Japanese flag on its all-white bodywork.
Hey, is that white car there from Japan?
Yes, and it's pretty fast on the straights.
Great! He passed him!
Go, Ronnie, go! Break that car if you have to.
We're up to 9th place!
Ronnie,